I actually ran across the play My Fellow Creatures by Michael Rubenfeld when I was down in LA going through the Sam French store. They were closing down their location. It was very sad. The author's note in Michael's play really caught my attention, and it's because he talks about presenting an opportunity to explore the nature of love in this very kind of abhorrent, fashion, and that really intrigued me. Arthur being this man who's clearly the voice of the pedophile who thinks that they love children, and then there's Kelly, who is this just very damaged young man and is trying to find redemption in a certain sense. And the third character is John, who's the guard there at the prison, and he seems to me like the voice of society. I identified with him the most because he's this character who has compassion but doesn't really know what to do about it. So after going through all of that and reading it, I was just like, I know someone who wants to read it. So I contacted Dan and...
Yeah, well, Elise had been down in LA and I'd been up in Sacramento doing a school tour with B Street Theater, and we hadn't seen each other in a little while. And so Elise called me up and she said, let's meet for dinner. And we met for dinner and we were talking, and she said, I read this play and I want to direct it, and there's a part in it that would be good for you. So she gave me the play, and I went home that night, and in the darkness of my living room I read through the entire play, and I sent Elise a text that night saying, I'm on board, when do you want to do it? I'm a firm believer that the purpose of theater is to ask important questions about the society that we live in.
Does it come to any conclusions? I invite you to be its judge.
You're just like me.
Then there's Arthur. He's very complicated. I mean, I know audiences will want to hate him. I think in the end you'll feel very conflicted by him, and that's going to be played by Lonan Smith. He's a great actor. He's going to have a lot of fun with this role.
Arthur is probably the most complex character I've ever had to play, because he's the most concerned or most convinced of his own rightness. If we were the only two people in the world, we would be everyone. You and I. Would we still be wrong? Arthur sees Kelly as somebody who needs guidance. Now, Arthur's a psychiatrist, and so he approaches Kelly from that level, but he is convinced that Kelly is wrong and thinking that he's done anything wrong. Did you use force?
No.
Did he tell you that he loved you? Did he?
Yes.
And did you love him?
Yes.
And then there's John. Arthur's a psychiatrist, so he is always trying to get one up on John because he lives inside the prison system. John should be the guy that's in charge. He should have a certain power position over Arthur, but Arthur is always manipulating. Arthur is looking to find what he can to know about John to level out the relationship, to even put it in his favor. To John's credit, John doesn't buy into it. You watch him dig at John, you watch him look for the way to manipulate John. And if anybody is really a solid rock in the middle of all this, it's John. Are you staying for dinner?
No, I've got to, that was a joke. It's fine.
In approaching this character, you want to find where the common humanity is, to show that Arthur is human like the rest of us. And for me, that's the exciting part about playing this character.
We were talking earlier in one of our segments about the show and how we came to do it, and after I did that third read of the play, I just knew that Dan would be as moved by it as I was, and that he was perfect for the role of Kelly. So You know, Kelly, he's just this fire and ice energy that just slams into you with such force of emotion and pain and desperation.
What do you want, Kelly? You want me to help you? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want?
I don't know. What do you want? What do you want from me? You want help? Stop talking. For once, just stop talking. You know, all you do is talk and talk and talk. I feel like punching you in the face.
Then punch me.
Kelly is like a wildfire, his anger fueled by a tormented past. He's guilty of wrongdoing, but he's someone that I feel compassion for. Kelly, I think, has a definitive sense of right and wrong as far as he's been geared to believe on a cultural level.
Just like me.
Not like you. I know what I did was wrong. People here are sick. The desires that Kelly has lead to a lot of self-loathing, I think. And Kelly seeks out punishment in different ways, and one of those ways is through John. Kelly sees John as just another authority figure. John wants to help Kelly in as much as Kelly will let him.
I know why you're here. I know what you did. I know a lot of people like you. I make it my job to be generous to people like you, even though no one else is. Even though I have 2 little daughters at home.
Good thing I only like little boys. And then there's Arthur. There's an interesting relationship and a dynamic between Kelly and Arthur because Kelly resents Arthur, but at the same time he seeks his approval. And he knows that Arthur, in a sense, can help him answer some of these questions that he has.
You want to be sick? Fine. Be sick. I'm going to be not sick. I may die in here, but at least I'm going to live my life honestly.
Yeah, what about Daniel? What's he supposed to do? Now that you're in here living your honest life, now that you've ruined his life, what's he supposed to do? He wants to make sense of what's happened to him, why he's done the things that he's done, and to find some redemption. The final violent and desperately impassioned confrontation is that wildfire which defines Kelly's tortured heart.
John, who is the guard, he, you know, really is that voice of society, like me. I mean, there's room for compassion for someone who's committed these crimes, and he has that, and he wants to help, but he's confused by their actions, and ultimately really doesn't know what to do, and you know, because this is so abhorrent for people. And I think that really is the question that gets raised in this play. What is the nature of love and relationships?
John has an odd sense of compassion for these men. While he feels they deserve help, he doesn't necessarily understand their predilection. He himself is a father of 2 little girls, and with that in mind, he finds it very difficult to empathize with them, as his wife would agree. He does feel that it is his job as a human being to be compassionate, however. With Arthur, there is a respect, a fascination with a man who is highly educated and has absolutely no desire to get out of the penal system. Arthur has such strong convictions and feels that he will not be deterred by man-made law. The doctors are having a hard time trying to get through to Kelly.
So am I.
Most people can't wait to get out of here as soon as they can. But you? No. Not you. You'd rather what? What are you trying to prove? You want to die in here? He compares these men to Frankenstein. At this point, we get to understand his viewpoint, to see that he's educated, smart, and why he feels the way he does about these men. You ever read Frankenstein? I bet you saw the movie though, huh? All he wanted was somebody to care for him. Somebody to help him not fuck up. What do you think about that?
What do you think?
I think the monster got a bad rap in the film. John is ultimately the referee between Arthur and Kelly. John believes that Kelly can be saved, can be introduced back into society, and he feels he has to struggle with Arthur for Kelly's soul.
So, welcome to My Fellow Creatures by Michael Rubenfeld, starring Dan Fagan, Lonan Smith, and Sean Williams. And we're really pleased that you're interested in the show. It's going to run September 14th to October 14th, Friday and Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday nights at 7 p.m. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. And it is a U.S. premiere by Canadian playwright Michael Rubenfeld. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show.